plumber will probably take all of that space and some. So right, not happy with the way that these units are been laid out. Sorry if this is shameful, everyone thinks I should be working in a tidy space, but basically, you know, if you want to make an omelette, you've got to break a few eggs. Oh, sod that, I'm not doing it. Hello everyone, and welcome to the next video in this series of videos I'm doing, where I'm completely showing you me fitting out a second fix in carpentry, this small 2-bed bungalow. The first video, you saw me hanging the doors. Consequently, since then, they've had some coats of Osmo oil. They're finished. I fitted the latches and the handles. I didn't show you a video doing that because there's some videos on my channel already. You can check those out if you like. The next video was me doing some skirting and architrave, and the video after that was me fitting out some wardrobe and fitting the doors. Now it's come time to start the kitchen, or the fitchin, depending on which way you want to look at it now. I'm going to kit the fitchin, whatever that is. This is a fairly simple kitchen. Let's dive straight in. It's obviously been delivered and sort of scattered in the winds just here, there and everywhere. So a fairly simple stuff. Here's the plan. Different supply, this kitchen to my normal one. This is a Crown kitchen. They're okay. I mean, I do prefer the other ones I fit, but these are still, you know, good kitchen, well supplied. Here's the plan. So pretty simple really. What I've actually do, the best way to read the plan I find, is to make sure you orient it in the actual way that the kitchen is going. So if I'm sort of stood here looking at the kitchen with a small run on my left, and then what I call the oven or hob run on down the middle, and then the sink run down the outside wall, I can actually stand here, look at it this way, and then all the writing and numbers are up the right way. So pretty simple stuff really. We've got 2 tall units here, which I presume will be fridge, freezer and oven housing, then a 600 base unit. Then we come round, I'm looking at base units here, base corner unit, then we've got a 600 pandrel unit under the hob, then we've got another, what is that, 1100 corner unit that forms a corner unit, 400 unit, 600 unit, space for a dishwasher, space for a washing machine, tumble dryer, and then we've got a, what's that, a metre wide, I've got them to put it here, pan drawer, that's sort of forming a dresser unit, 2 wall units above, which I presume will have glass in, and then literally a little back to here, we've got a little run of wall units running across the back there, gap in the middle, which I presume a cooker hood will be. So yeah, it's all fairly straightforward stuff. Don't really know anything about it. Looking at it, it's probably some sort of grey colour, I don't know, I haven't even looked. Carcass is obviously some sort of oaky grain colour. What are the doors going to be? Let's have a look at, yeah, so we've got a sort of textured, wrapped door by the look of it. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not 100% sure, because obviously I've done quite a few kitchen videos. So I think what I'm going to do here, probably not get too bogged down in bits and bobs. I'm probably going to set the camera up in the corner and just watch me blast the whole thing down in time lapse. If there's anything that I haven't covered in previous videos, I'll drop in and, you know, we'll go through that. As usual, the kitchen's been delivered, and rather than say to me, can you tell me when it'll be ready for templating, they told me literally I've got 2 days to get this whole thing ready for templating. Shouldn't be too bad. I've only got to get all the base units in and end panels cut and everything. So enough of this. It's a beautiful day. I've got lots of light shining in everywhere. So what I'm going to do, as I said, set the camera up and we'll make a start. there you see, I don't know how long it's been, not long, hour and a half maybe. I had some lunch. All of the units are sort of in position now. Legs are all on. I've wound them all up. You wouldn't be able to tell from the time lapse, but I've wound them all up to 160mm because we're having 10mm of laminate flooring on here. So the back legs obviously will be down at 160. I'll level it all in, and then I shall just wind the front legs up each time I come to them when I'm doing the laminate floor. Wind the leg up a little bit, put the flooring underneath, and then wind the leg back down. So the flooring will go under the legs, but obviously I'm putting the kitchen in first. All fairly straightforward stuff. Everything's roughly into position. I've set up these corner posts, and they've got a filler panel behind them, so they're kind of dictating. They're not adjustable on this kitchen, unfortunately. They dictate the size of the corner. So the kitchen guy did tell me, so normally these corner posts sort of come, they're made of 2 bits. So you can make, this would be the other way round, and that bit there would be along here, and you can make it as big as you like. So that would have split. I would have put basically, sort of what I'm waffling is, look, this unit here is 40 odd mil shy of the wall. The kitchen designer did say it might be. Doesn't matter in this instance, we can just pull all the units off a little bit, and obviously the end panels are wide enough, and the worktop will just be templated wide enough anyway. But normally, as I said, the corner posts would be adjustable, and I would push those units right back and just make the corner post slightly bigger. But doesn't matter, not the end of the world to keep that off there. So yeah, it's all in, all units are in. You see I use my little trick to put the legs on and stand those up. Hopefully you saw that. So what I can do now is get the level out. I'll get a laser level out, set that up, and I'll start to level all these in, and then we can get them in exactly the right position. Obviously you can see here we've got an 18mm gap there. It says on the plan, where are we? Here. So it shows, you can see here, look, we've got 18mm end panels either end of the cooker. I presume that's just to make it sort of look like a feature. Whether or not whether I'll take those right to the floor or not, I don't know. Thinking about it, he's probably only put them in. The kitchen designer's probably only put them in to actually make that run of units slightly bigger, to compensate for the fact that the space between those walls is bigger than the makeup of the units. I should imagine. I can't see another reason for doing that. I'll double check with the customer to see if they want those to go right to the floor. I don't like the end panels, if I'm honest. I don't like end panels going right to the floor in a run of units like that, because to my mind, what it does is it disrupts the plinth line and makes it just something else you've got to sweep round or mop round. In the instance of like we've got to create 2 cavities here for tumble dryer and dishwasher. Obviously they do go right to the floor, but again, potentially if the plinth was long enough, I still cut the bottom section of the end panel back so it doesn't disrupt the plinth line. But anyway, we'll see as we go on here. I'll speak to the customer, see what they want. But I think it looks, if you can keep the plinth line, you know, in one rather than disrupting it with end panels to the floor, in my personal opinion, I think it looks a bit neater. I'm not saying with end panels there's not a time and a place. So for instance, if say this was a wider gap and there was one of those little freestanding range cookers or something going in there, I think in that case end panels right down to the floor will be perfect, because that would suit that cavity. But anyway, I'm waffling on. So let's get the laser out, get this set up, and start leveling some of these in. Actually, scratch what I've just said about those 80mm end panels on the base unit run. They're not. They're actually on the wall unit run. I've misinterpreted that. So here, this is the base unit run. It just shows 1120, then a 600 unit, then 1145. So the reality of it is, when I close those up, that's really going to make a big gap on that end, to the point that actually I might have to ask a question. Realistically, if I get the tape out. So again, the face of this unit is dictated by this corner post here, the makeup of that corner post. So basically that keeps us, we're about 40 odd mil off the wall there. So if I then add the sort of roughly 20mm there and 20mm there, that's 60mm off the wall. That's a lot. In my opinion, that's a lot. That's a long way out for that to be over there. I really would rather that was not off the wall that much. So I'm going to make a phone call, I think, to see potentially this unit here, this cooker unit, hob unit, is not going to be in the centre. It's not going to be in the centre between these two walls. It'll be in the centre of the, if I carry on as we are, it will be in the centre between the face of this run of units and the face of that run of units, I suppose, but I might have to have a think about that, because if the wall units match the base units, there'll be a big filler panel on the wall there. So I'm going to make some inquiries about that. So, right, not happy with the way that these units are been laid out. Basically, what it in effect is doing is it's making the distance between this bank of units here and this bank of units here 80 mil smaller than it needs to be. So what we're going to do, or what I've had a word with the builder, and it's these pre-made corner posts are dictating where these units can go. Hence why they end up being 80 mil smaller, 40 mil each side, which basically means the units will have to be off the wall 40 mil, which is, in a small bungalow like this, it's bonkers to have the space between that cupboard and that cupboard 80 mil smaller than it needs to be. So the builder's going to speak to the kitchen supplier and get us a replacement door, so that literally all I need to do, and I've taken one apart here. Here we are, look. All I need to do, this is the corner post, is unscrew this corner post and literally make this section here bigger. So as you can see, I haven't moved that unit all the way back. If I put it over here, it might make more sense. This corner post goes here, you see. That's the position it wants to go in, but actually it needs to be all the way back here. So without trying to do it, I just need to make this piece of this corner post bigger to go from here to the centre of that unit. So that's what we're going to do, and then this unit will be back to the wall and that unit will back to the wall. I hope that makes sense, but we just, as I said, 80 mils too much really. We don't need the worktops to be wide in here, we need this space to be as big as possible. So that's what's going to happen. It's slightly unfortunate, par for the course a little bit, but it won't stop me levelling all these in. I'll just make sure that I've got to remove this back panel here. I'll just make sure that when this is all set in, it's set into the right place, so that when I get either that door or maybe some end panel material, I can just make those corner posts up and plonk them in. So now that's sorted, that base unit can be cut around those pipes, so we can get the sink unit in and get that fitted as well. I'll quickly explain what I've done if it wasn't clear when I explained before, but you can now see that I've rejigged this corner. This unit now is tight back to the wall. This unit will be tight back to the wall, and as you can see, look, I've removed this panel here, I should say, and now all I need to do is extend this little bit of corner out to, that mark there is the centre of the unit, or about 501 millimetres back from the edge of this carcass here. So all I need to do when I get the relevant either offcuts of end panel or I get another door is just quickly unscrew this. Unscrew this carrier piece from this carcass, unscrew this carrier piece from this corner piece, and unscrew this piece from that piece. There's a lot of unscrewing, I know that, and then cut a piece, a replacement piece long enough to come out to here, screw it back together, and then that'll be that. It basically means that we push that unit 40 mil further back that way, and that unit 40 mil back further that way. So now all of this run of units down this side and this run of units down this side are all tight back to the wall. So brilliant, let's get this sink unit in. Right, that's me done for today. I only started this sort of mid-afternoon, so that'll do me for today, and then I'll come back tomorrow and we'll crack on and do a bit more. Right, back, it's a new day. It's still a little bit dingy outside, so I've got a light on. So yeah, let's just carry on, level in a couple more of these units, get some of these end panels cut. Look at my own shadow there. Get some of these end panels cut, and then we can start putting these wall units on. Let's go. So when you're doing some stud walling and you've finished it all, especially around the kitchen, you think, oh, I can't be bothered to put a run of noggins in for the wall units. Here's the reason why you must spend that extra 10 or 15 minutes. Look, I've already put one of these brackets up because I can't hold it and screw it at the same time, but look, it's just an absolute dream. It's breaking. Can we see that? Gosh, absolutely fantastic knowing that you've put all the noggins in the right place and all of those units just screw straight on. What I will say in terms of where they go, I know you could sort of say, well, how do you know where to put them? But generally, in my experience, I put the noggins, I think a 4x2 noggin. If this is where my door heads are here, 2 meters and 30, I generally put them sort of straddling 2 meters and 30, so off the floor. So I haven't missed them yet. So when these brackets here are generally between sort of 75 and sort of 90 mil down from the top of the unit, so down here somewhere. So yeah, I know that it's tempting. I know that it's tempting when you've done the stud work to think, oh, sod that, I'm not doing it. But that extra 10, 15 minutes put those noggins in, it just saves so much aggro. Like everything with the door linings, as I said in a previous video, spend a lot of time in the preparation and it can make the finishing so much easier. Right, I've had a mad morning, haven't spoken to the camera much. Like I said earlier, I've done lots of details on kitchen videos on my channel. So let's have a quick look. I'll quickly talk you through what I've done. You can see most of it on time lapse. Obviously all the main units are in, managed to get the fridge freezer in as well. Obviously had to put the doors on there first. Everything's, all the wall units are up, they're all fixed together, levelled nicely. End panels are all cut, wall end panels cut. I had some offcuts from these end panels because these are 650 wide and they only need to be about 580. So fortunately, I had some offcuts. So look, I've completed these corner posts here. So much happier now. You can see that gives you an indication. This was the return of the end panel before, so you can see just how much sort of extra we've gained. No, it doesn't seem like much, but you know, as I said, on a little kitchen like this, every inch counts. So yeah, I had a bit of a mad morning. Really happy with how it's all gone actually. End panels are all in here. I cut them. I say I don't put those end panels right down to the floor. I'd rather the plinth run all the way through in this instance. Same here. Although that's longer than 3 meters from here down to here, there'll be a join in it, but we've got a dishwasher and a washing machine in there, so the plinth's going to have to be demountable somehow there. What you'll notice I've done here, we've got a wall-mounted boiler going in that cupboard there. So pretty much I've taken the back of the unit out and just sort of cobbled together the corner chipboard back so that the mounting hardware could still work. I don't know whether that's all got to come off, I don't know, but as you can see here, look, what I've done is put a pencil mark all the way around the inside of the cabinet so that when this comes off, you know, the plumber will probably take all of that space and some, so it may be that we just end up sort of fitting a bare shell of a unit round it, but I'll come back to that. Yeah, so it's been quite mad. If I turn the camera and look at the mess. So I just, you know, I'm sorry if this is shameful, everyone thinks I should be working in a tidy space, but basically, you know, if you want to make an omelette, you've got to break a few eggs. So, you know, the lads will come back and probably make a bit of a tidy up there. So I think it's not far off lunchtime, so this is just under a day's work. So I'm happy. It's not fantastically technical, a few little things to think about, but I'm going to have some lunch or get set up, cut this. We've got a proper sort of full cornice going in the top here and just lighting pelmet going into the wall panels, end wall panels on the end. So I'll get that done, so that's all done. And I know this will all have to come off, but I'm still going to, while I've got the saw set up, save me setting up another time, I'll cut all of that and that'll just be sort of either temporary screwed and then we can just take that out with a few screws. So yeah, looking really, really good. There's some sort of oven. We've got an oven. Is the oven still to come? There's a speed oven there. I presume there's probably another oven. Dishwasher obviously to go in. There's a dresser type unit going here, which those two units aren't here yet. They sit right down onto the worktop. But I've actually noticed a bit of a problem here. Look, this socket, I don't quite know what's happened here. Somewhere along the line, the plan has been altered between it being given to the Sparky to first fix and obviously the kitchen turning up here. So that's not good at all. That's going to have to be moved, which is a shame. I think there's probably enough. Anyway, that's not really, I know, don't like to say it, but that's not my issue. So set these cavities up here, dishwasher and washing machine tumble dryer on here, and I've said this before, all I basically do, these units as normal, nice new work, it's nice and easy, just stuck a little tab back to the wall just to sort of locate them when, as I've said many times, when all the work goes on here, it's not going anywhere. What I've done, just to keep this 602mm gap for the dishwasher to fit in, I've just screwed a bit of batten down on top that holds that into position. Again, as I said many times before, this is just bonded to the floor and bonded to the wall. The end panels here, as you can see here, I've got some offcuts of laminate flooring with the correct underlay. And I've obviously just put a bit of glue on the bottom of those, but the builder's going to seal around them. So when I come to do the flooring here, it will just slide straight under the end panel. Same here, that will just slide straight under again. I've sealed the bottom of that one as well. So I think that's possibly about it. I'll set the camera up when I come to the next bit and you can watch me put this cornice and stuff in, and then I think I'll probably, just to get them off the floor here and try and release all of this waste material, the cardboard and stuff, I think I'll go work through the doors and get them all snapped on, because that's a nice sort of easy job. So yeah, really, really happy. Right, it's another new day. I can't remember where I got to yesterday, sorry about that. I've got some time lapse. I actually decided for the lazy option yesterday and just snapped all these doors on. So What I also did is, I think you can see by some of the time lapse, just got that's a washing machine, a tumble dryer and a dishwasher in. A little bit of a catch-22 here because I don't want to put that washing machine, I could put it up on a stand, but I don't want to do that. I think I'm going to have to wait until this is being laminate floor all the way through here. So I'll laminate floor that right into that cavity, because then obviously that's going to make that much easier to get in and out for future if it needs servicing. What I did was just bonded down a little base before I left last night, because this dishwasher does need jacking up. And I've put that, as you can see, I put the front of that base. You can maybe see that in line with the back edge of the plinth, or in line with the legs. So I'll just get that dishwasher in. Yeah, they're only it's not a problem, I don't think. But obviously the feed and drain and electrical feed for this washing machine have got to go down behind this dishwasher. But obviously I've cut a little back part out of the panel there, and that should be able to go behind that dishwasher, because as I've said many times before, there's a little void down behind here. The only issue might be, which I don't think it will be physically fishing the hoses and the plug round the back. So it may be that I can't put this in until that's in, but I'm definitely going to fit this in, and worst case if it's got to come out just to get those hoses and stuff in, that's not the end of the world. Okay, I've got so much footage with this video. What I'm going to do is split it into two parts. So that's this first part finished. If you want to see the second part, keep an eye on my channel. But as always, if you've watched this one and found it interesting, thanks for watching.